So our belief in angels, obviously today we have the archangels, and in 2 days we'll have the guardian angels. But our belief in angels primarily comes from a testimony from the scriptures. You know, it's not something that we reasonably would come to know, but that we would know because first, the Old Testament testifies to that. And then, of course, we hear from the book of Revelation, the New Testament, where it speaks specifically about Michael, and certainly we know Gabriel, the archangel, and Raphael and Tobit. And so, but today we even hear Jesus talking about the angels. And it's interesting because, you know, we read this gospel and you think, well, what the reason why the church chooses this gospel is because Jesus testifies to the idea that there are angels and the angels of God will ascend and descend on the Son of Man. And what's very important, I think, for us that kind of correct our understanding of angels is that as God created all of existence, all that exists, in creating angels, that is their nature, is to be angels. We are humans. But you can hear sometimes Catholics kind of confusing that because they'll say something like when somebody passes away, well, God needed another angel in heaven. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's not a human being. A human being, we believe, is a human being for all eternity. You know, we are body and spirit. God created that. God created just things that are physical and material. Then he created things that are spiritual as a combination of spiritual and human. And then created things that are just spirit. But we, of course, would have a hard time to see an angel unless somehow, because of our restrictions and the fact that we need to see the material. So that's why, you know, there's this presence in bodily form, you know. But the pictures of angels with wings and flying around in long white robes and all of that are not really the image that the scriptures have, nor does it, you know, but they've been formed by us in secular kind of imagery and in paintings. But it's hard to paint a spirit because there would be nothing to paint, right? So you have to use something for the imagination, so to know that there's something that you're trying to communicate, because to paint nothing would not tell anybody anything, right? So I guess that's what happens. One of the ways that I think we realize that we're probably more formed by kind of secular or art or stories rather than the scriptures, which talk about the fact that created beings that are all pure spirit. And just as an aside, another thing that's correct to correct our thoughts before we go any further, you know, is the evil one, the devil. I think what happens in popular piety, we talk about yin and yang, and we talk about good and evil, and that there's these opposing forces. And of course, we think that because we also see Star Wars and the power of battle between good and evil. But remember that Satan is a created being, that he's not equal to God. He's a created, therefore always less than God. And evil will always be less than the good and less than God. And so when we talk about, you know, the battle between good and evil, we're not talking about an equal battle like there are two gladiators fighting. You know, it's really something where one has the entire upper hand, who is God, and then the evil one, who is a created being and could be pretty much dispensed of it or eliminated at the whim of God, actually, because he's a created being. It's not like he has any power or authority greater than God or even equal to God, any more than we do as created beings, any more than any other angel does as created beings. So sometimes when you, especially in pantheism and some of the sort of Wiccan and religion, they talk about this equal force of good and evil going back and forth, and it's like, yeah, no, that's not our faith. Our faith is that God is good and God has supreme authority over all, and he permits things in his divine wisdom. So we talk about the fallen angel, but we hopefully have a good, healthy kind of understanding of angels. And I still love the pictures of angels that we put in our art and all of that, because they remind me, but I also know up here that, you know, it's an image that we use to communicate an idea, a symbol. We're not actually thinking that's what an angel looks like. But so my more important thing is that as God, we're recognizing that God created all of creation, but that even these messengers, as we talk about with our angels, and there's more to say when we do the guardian angel, but the idea of communicating and caring for his people, as the prayer says. So, before I end, just remind everybody that after Mass on Thursdays now, in the hall, we will have, we have coffee, we have donuts, we have cereal for some of the kids. So if you haven't had breakfast, you can come back there, and little pastries and things, and whatever, and good conversation. So immediately following the Masses on Thursday from now on. So we're trying to, they are, not me, I didn't do anything. They're trying to get also food for young people as well. So just a little reminder after Mass, because we have adoration and I don't want to interrupt that, obviously, with an announcement.